Good morning, Decatur County. I'm Nick Messer, and you're tuning in to Overtime. Joined in studio this morning by Greensburg boys varsity coach Colin Rigney. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
We moved past all the snow. Looks like some snow flurries, but I think we'll be okay. So I'll start out by telling you they are going to have a game tonight at home. South Ripley, 6 o'clock. That'll be a big competitive game. But, Coach, you're clicking at the right time. Looking at the schedule, you're winners of 5 of the last 7, so looks like things are starting to click just when they need to.
Yeah, hopefully it continues. We got 2 more games against very, very good teams, both at home, thank goodness. First South Ripley tonight, and then next week finish up our conference season with East Central at home for senior night. So, yeah, here down the stretch, we've done a really good job. The guys have been pushing incredibly hard. And you know, the results have followed, so it's been great.
Yeah, and it looks like that South Decatur game the other night turned out to be a little different game with some weather issues there.
Yeah, if it's not snow, it's tornadoes. Yeah. You don't know what you're going to get here
Welcome to Indiana, right?
Southeastern Indiana. A lot of adversity for both teams. Just under a minute to go in the first half. One of our SROs comes out and says we got to stop the game and take shelter. And that was about I think 20 minutes we had to shelter in place, come back out, finish the half, which took about 90 seconds in real time, and then go back in for a shortened halftime, and then we were all good in the second half. So it was definitely weird, first time for me.
Yeah, you don't see that too often in basketball. Now, baseball, yeah. You know, you get all the delays in baseball, rain, lightning, whatever, but how do you get your players, especially something that's out of the ordinary, how do you get them to just lock back in? And, I mean, do you depend on, you know, the leaders, or do you
It's a little bit, yes, definitely. You know, we have great leadership. We have seniors who lead the team, but also we have 2 captains, one of them Ethan Smith, the other one Logan Simpson, and they do a great job just kind of commanding our troops and getting their mind frame in the right place. But we pretty much treated that, since it was so close to halftime, we pretty much treated it as halftime. Went over things that I would have gone over at the half, able to make a couple adjustments defensively, and then, heck, I don't take too long to speak when we do that, so for the last probably 12 to 14 minutes, I just let them chill. And I was trying to figure out when we were going to take the floor and kind of what was going on. So it was definitely weird, but they took it in stride and did a great job.
Yeah, and it's just odd. You know, it's something you don't plan for. That's not in the coach's book, how to bounce back from tornado sheltering. But
and I will say it was extremely odd coming back out into the second half. That's when the real heavy rain came, and like being able to hear the rain over all of the sounds and noises that go on in a high school basketball game was a different feeling. Like, my goodness, it's not the crowd that's making all the noise. It's the rain from outside. Yeah. So it was different.
In that game, it looks like you had a few, quite a bit really. I mean, that turned out to be probably more of a battle than you really would have liked as a coach, but it looked like you had a couple players that really stepped up into their roles that game.
We did, and we knew that game was going to be a battle. Heck, South Decatur's got 12 or 13 wins. They're a team that's
senior loaded,
got a lot of experience, and they're a team that's looking to go make a run in the postseason as well. So, no, we did not think that was going to be an easy game by any means, but to see the effort from our guys, and especially Ethan Smith, my goodness, he ended up with 37 points that night, and he hasn't been one that has just scored it at high rates for us. He's been a consistent scorer, consistent producer at all parts of the game, but to see him just come unglued and come up with 37 points was unbelievable, really.
Yeah, didn't shoot the ball too bad that night. I mean, it for the most part could have been a little better, but overall it wasn't. Given the circumstances, it wasn't bad.
We've really been harping in on our shot selection. We know that from the field three-point line specifically, we don't shoot it as well as some of these other teams. But the potential is there, and it's more likely, with our good shot selection. And we took good shots on Thursday night. We took really good shots, and it was one of those where they weren't falling. So our emphasis was that we've got to get to the rim, and that's where we've, you mentioned that we've been 1-5 out of our last 7. That's been our recipe. We've got to live through the paint, live on straight line drives, and getting the ball into the middle. And he did a great job of that. Jacoby Miller did a great job of that. Jacoby Miller had 22 points and didn't hit a 3. I think that's the only game this year he hadn't hit a 3, outside of maybe a couple in our Richmond tournament.
That's your leading scorer right now.
That is our leading scorer, and he had 22 points living at the rim, living at the foul line. Ethan Smith, 37, living at the rim, living at the foul line. He hit 2 threes, but 6 of those we can. That's not a huge amount. So. That's kind of what we do. That's what we pride ourselves on. We want to get to the middle of the floor and make plays from 10 feet and in.
Yeah, and ball movement looks to be a little better. I watched, I think it was 2-3 games ago. Ball movement looks to be a lot better here in the last, that set of that 5-7 games. Just like you guys are really, or your guys are starting to understand. I can turn this shot down and give it up and get a better shot.
Yeah, our motion offense has improved daily. Both at practice, we work on it every day. Going against live play, going against no defense in a dry setting. Our motion offense has improved greatly, and it's because of the buy-in from those guys and understanding, how much success they can have just by waiting and being patient and reading what the defense has given you. It gives you those straight line drives. It gives you the reads and with good screening and cutting, and we've begun to experience some success with it.
Let's highlight some players. Let's start with seniors and work our way down of what you're seeing, what's clicking leadership-wise, game-wise, who's growing into the roles. And
my seniors have been more than amazing. Touched on Ethan Smith in our last game as well as just over the course of the year. But the other 2 seniors have both been really, really good down the stretch. Jonah Helmick, he had a career high against Madison. He led us against Madison with 19. Just coming into his role, and he's extremely disruptive on the defensive end.
Starting to rebound better, too.
Rebounding better, and he may not come up with a bunch of blocks, but his ability to alter shots in the lane has been incredible for us. So he's been doing a really, really good job, and just being back to the basket, he's getting better every day at when he needs to look to score out of that, when he needs to look to kick. He's extremely unselfish.
And I think that's something that even as young players, well, it's worse with young players. It's hard to get them to understand you're not going to block every shot.
Right.
Just because somebody's shooting doesn't mean you block it. If you're straight up or you're just in the path and you can change their shot, change your trajectory, change something, that you're doing your job. And I think it's hard for players to understand that. I think they watch college and NBA, and these guys 6'10", 7'2", they can elevate a little higher. And so just to get them to be knowledgeable as, and out of foul trouble too.
Yeah.
That I just need to be in the right spot. I don't need to block every shot.
Right, and he's done a great job of that. Human nature, when there's a guard that gets in the lane, I know what Jonah's thinking. He's like, I'm going to send this into the 5th row.
Yep.
Sometimes, and he has a couple times, but then there's some other times where mistimes it, and then we pick up the foul, and it's like, gosh darn it, just stand straight up. But that's going to happen.
I got a chance to watch him a little bit last year and 2 years ago, and some of his travel stuff he was doing. He has come a long way. His footwork is 10 times better than what it was last year and 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, he works incredibly hard. He's been great for me. He's super great for us, and one thing that has really made our team great is, we predominantly play 7 guys. And at each point, any one of those 7 have been a very big, if not deciding factor into why we've won a game. And they all take pride in that. They're okay. There are some games where, it's so-and-so's not having their best night, or maybe who we're playing is taking them away a little bit better. And so somebody else has to step up. And that's been it's been tremendous for us here down the stretch.
That South Decatur game is exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
With Ethan stepping up. And
in the first half, Jonah didn't play a whole lot. The way South was going against our 1-3-1, they would really extend our middle man and make him have to guard on the perimeter, which we made an adjustment, and Jonah did a much better job in the second half, came up with a huge steal for us, actually, to help us extend the lead. But that kind of limited him a little bit in the first half until we could talk about it. Another person who has bought into what I just talked about tremendously well is Hayden Ramsey. He has been, he's kind of been like an unsung hero here for the last 2 or 3 weeks. He's been, maybe the things that he's doing isn't showing up in the scorebook as much, but he's been playing really, really good basketball for us. He plays the bottom part of our zone for the most part when he comes into the game. And that bottom part, you got to cover a lot of ground. You're corner to corner, and you've got to stop the basketball from getting driven, because if we get driven from the baseline, we don't have anything down there. That's our last line of defense, and he has done an amazing job taking care of that part of our zone, as well as coming up with some steals and deflections. And then offensively, you know, I always mention his favorite shot is the little pull-up jumper, which I will be the first person to say. I am not a fan of the pull-up jumper in general, but it is a shot that he has a ton of confidence in. He's worked on a lot, and they're starting to fall, which has been great for him. That raises his confidence when his shots are going. So talking about our seniors, our seniors have been tremendous, and all 3 of them are playing their best basketball right now.
Yeah, and let's talk about that defense for a little bit, because you guys do a really good job of sliding down and covering and then recovering, which, somebody goes out on that defense, you got to slide down, slide back, and you guys do a nice job of keeping that middle and those holes filled in that zone you're playing.
Yeah, and that's a huge emphasis. You know, with our 1-3-1, we want to be disruptive, we want to create turnovers, and we've done a good job of that here in the last couple weeks. But the biggest thing outside of all that is the ball cannot get in the middle of the floor, and we have really 3 players that command the middle. Max Buning commands the middle to start the game every time, and he probably spends the most time there. Jonah Helmick and Jacoby Miller is kind of our third option depending upon what lineup we're in. And those 3 have done a tremendous job and taken pride in not allowing the ball into the middle. And if they do, sitting down and guarding in a one-on-one so that we don't have to collapse. So it's allowed us to have some success, and they as well as me have learned, and it's kind of been a growing process. You know, this is the first time I never played a 1-3-1 when I was in high school. We didn't run that. We didn't run it at all last year. You just kind of try and find with your personnel what works for you. And I stumbled upon this, and we've seen some success, and I think they have some fun playing it.
Yeah, I think traditionally you will see the Boeheims, what I call it. You'll come out in that 2-3, sometimes 3-2 in zone, but Syracuse kind of brought that to life there for a while with Jim Boeheim. But yeah, you definitely, it's just like offense. It's what you got. You know, not every team can run every offense. Not every team can run every defense.
Right.
Like you just said, if they're not fast enough to, replace and fill, cover that middle, there's going to be a big hole, and you're going to have a lot of mid-range jump shots or dribble drives or whatever's going to happen, and you bust that zone up, and now you're in trouble. But, those are the things that we always talk about on here that are outside of the game book or the stats, the growth part, those things that the players are doing well that people aren't seeing.
Yeah, and it's, on top of that, I mentioned the turnovers. Like, I think we turned South over 23 or 25 times. Prior to that, we turned a really good Seymour team over 18 times. And it's been around the 20 turnover mark that we're forcing over our last several games, and that's the reason that we're not only in the game but winning a majority of those here in the last few weeks.
Yeah, and in that Seymour game, that kept you guys in there because that was what, a 48-40 or
48-46 is what it ended. We got down 17-5 early. Just had a couple miscues defensively, took a couple quick ones offensively, and they're a very physical, sound defensive team. And the top part of our zone in that one, Zayden Miller, Jacoby Miller, Ethan Smith, Logan Simpson were able to create some turnovers and allow us to get back into the game. And that was a great game to be a part of. Wish we could have come up with it. We were right there, but it was really good for us and a great game at this part in the season. Sectional type game, physical, a lot of defense, and you really got to execute. So it was a really good experience for us.
Yeah, and I mean that's one that could have went your way too. So you could have easily been, instead of 5 out of last 7, you could be the 6 out of last 7. I mean, you guys are really clicking at the right time. I know we talk seniors, but let's talk about those juniors with Miller and Simpson. Growing a lot. His commanding of the court, if you will, has improved greatly over the year.
Yes. Logan Simpson, he's our quote-unquote point guard. He brings the ball up. He has the ball in his hands more than anybody else, and he does a tremendous job. Even now, he still has an assist-to-turnover ratio. I think it's right around 2, which is a little bit lower than what it was. He was a little bit over 3 at one point in the year around Christmas time. But even still, when you handle it that much and your ATO is still that high, that's great. Jacoby Miller has been our offensive leader from beginning to end this year, and has done a great job of that. He knows he's the one that we need him to score, but also that it doesn't have to come. He doesn't have to force things. It will come naturally to him, and with the way that our offense works, and he's okay with an Ethan Smith coming up with 37 just because that's how our offense is working that night, or a Jonah Helmick coming up with 19 because that's how our offense is working. Who else? Zayden Miller, another junior who has exploded here after Christmas. I made a decision to insert him in the starting lineup because of what he brings to our team defensively, and he has, like I said, he's exploded. He is extremely disruptive on the defensive end. He runs the floor incredibly well. He's a kid that doesn't get tired. He's got a big smile on his face and just loves competing no matter what he's doing. And he's a real huge reason why that 1-3-1 zone came to fruition, because he can be so disruptive there at the top of that, and it's been great to see.
Yeah, and you got a couple younger kids too, freshmen.
Max Buning's our lone sophomore that we play on a varsity team, and he's probably had the most improvement from beginning to end. Number one, he plays as hard as anybody that I've ever been around. He's max effort all the time.
Yeah, he's one of those players where it's the old adage, coach gives me 2 minutes, I give him a reason to play me 5.
Yes, and exactly.
He is the epitome of that quote.
Exactly. And I mentioned that he's kind of running the middle for us in that 1-3-1. He's a sophomore, a 16-year-old sophomore, and he's commanded the middle, taking on the other team's big or the other team's 6'5", 6'6" person in the middle of that floor, and doing a great job just battling them. He is rebounded as well as anybody for our team here down the stretch. His ability to seek out the basketball coming off the rim, and his relentlessness to not be stopped when he gets into that mode. And then offensively, he's a great scorer for us. He's another one, here I'd say out of the last 7 games, 4 or 5 of them, he's been in the top 3 in scoring, been in double figures a couple times, getting to the rim, can hit the outside shot. So he's really come into his own here, and he's only going to keep improving, which is great.
And then another freshman, Kendall.
Mm-hmm. Carson Kendall's playing really good basketball on the JV level. Our JV team's won. They haven't lost since Jacksonville. They took one on the chin to Jacksonville, but they've won several in a row here and playing really good basketball. Got a few juniors there that have really commanded the troops of that group. Bryson Chilton, Jagger Thompson, Adam Powers, really taking a huge step to help that team come up with wins. Wyatt Yake, as a sophomore, is playing really good basketball, and Levi Muckerhide's playing really, really good basketball. He's probably, in my opinion, improved the most on that JV group. He's so strong and long, and he's a great competitor. He's a varsity quarterback, so he won't shy away from competition, won't shy away from physicality, and they've all done a great job.
Yeah, I had him in here during football season. Mm-hmm. Great kid. Definitely. I know you still have 2 games again tonight at home against South Ripley. Next Friday at home against East Central. That's the 27th. That is senior night. So 2 games left. Sectional draw Sunday.
Yep.
So there's plenty of season to go. So I don't want to cut that short. But the future looks really good for your program in terms of talent or ability coming up.
Yeah, I'm definitely very excited. And one other thing that makes me the most excited is there was a group here that went through 3 coaches over the span of 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to, you got Coach Meyer, then Coach Busick, then myself. So it's kind of hard to just feel grounded and feel stable when you go through something like that. But I think the way that I want to play is now fully embedded. The way that I want to play, they understand, and I also understand what's best for my guys. It's not just about we're going to play my way, no questions or anything about it.
Right.
But they understand kind of what I expect from an effort and intensity standpoint. Winning the 50-50 balls, and that's starting to trickle down, which has been great. So I think that's what I'm most excited about, and you compound that with the talent that we do have in our younger grades, even as much as our juniors. My junior class is strong, and being able to say, wow, I got another year of those guys is really exciting.
Yeah, you're going to have some really good leadership, and as you already pointed out, Buning's only a sophomore, and you got a couple sophomores that are strong again on that JV moving up, and a couple juniors that are starting that are going to be, the leaders on the team. So things are looking very bright for you in your program. And, I had Coach Sliger on here, too, during the football season. He was kind of the same way, like we've been through coaches, been through ups and downs, and, they're buying in. And, of course, with him, they clicked at the right time. Playoff time, sectionals, they clicked, got some wins. So it's exciting to see, and it's exciting to watch now, and it's exciting to anticipate the future. We're going to pause real quick for some advertisements and commercials, and we'll be right back with Greensburg boys varsity coach Colin Rigney. I'm Nick Messer, and this is Overtime. Welcome back to Overtime. I'm your host, Nick Messer. Again, in studio with me this morning is Greensburg boys varsity coach Colin Rigney. We've been just talking about things, players developing, growth of the program, growth of the team, just some things that you don't see in the box score and on the scoreboard. Clicking at the right time. Winners of the last 5 is 7. Could have been 6. Seymour is real close. I just want to hit the last 2 games again. I'm going to keep repeating those just so everybody knows. Tonight is at home, and that is against South Ripley with the 6 o'clock JV tip-off. And tonight, Coach, is Dirt Road night.
Yeah, we're honoring all of our Dirt Road players and coaches in between games. They just finished up their seasons. 6th grade just finished up last week with a tournament at East Central, and then the other teams prior to that finished up the week before. So they just got done with their seasons. Want to honor those kids, want to honor those coaches. That's a unpaid job, as I'm sure you're aware.
Yes, they are.
Where they put in a ton of time for those kids to give them the experience of getting to play some good basketball in the area. And I want to show my gratitude for all of them.
You want to just take a second for those that are watching and listening and explain what Dirt Road is. It's not a tractor pull.
No, it's not. It's the way I describe it is like it's our own version of school ball AAU basketball. It's the schools that are in Dirt Road are all of our surrounding area high schools that put together grade level teams starting from 2nd grade up to 6th grade. And there are host sites all around the area. You can go to Hauser to play games on Sundays. You can go to North Decatur. You can go to Centerville, all over the place, and you play 2 games a weekend for over the course of, I think, 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's 16 or 18 games they play. I think it's 18.
That might be it. And then if they can, they'll host a little tournament at the end. And you get to play teams in your area. You get to go play basketball, have some fun, and experience new places. So it's amazing. I'm very thankful to the head coaches that put on Dirt Road. There's 3 of them, and I can only remember 2. Coach Beach at South Ripley and Coach Brown at Rushville are 2 guys that are very, very involved in putting that together. So, and there's one other coach. I just can't remember who it is. But I'm very thankful for them because it gives these kids an experience. It gives these kids a chance to play basketball together, and it really helps our development for our high school team.
Yeah, Coach Beach does a really nice job of putting that together. And if you've never done any kind of coordinating or scheduling with athletics like that, it can be a nightmare, especially when you throw weather in there and make up schedules and gym time for the 20, 25 teams that are in Dirt Road and getting where to go. So yeah, he does a great job with that. But with Dirt Road night, it's kind of like youth football night. You get to see all the kids there. I don't know if they'll be in their jerseys or not, but
I hope so. I just had a coach ask, "Are we wearing our jerseys now?" I said, "Heck yeah, let's throw them on. Let's go."
It's always fun, exciting to see those. You don't get so much, the 5th, 6th grade teams, but the 2nd, 3rd grade teams, you see them emulating pros, you see them emulating your players, and they really soak it in. And it's not really about basketball; it's just about them getting that affirmation and them getting that time, and it's really cool to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm pumped for tonight. Just to be able to see those kids hopefully enjoying being future Pirate basketball players. I'm definitely going to have a conversation with my guys about what this means. They were once, they won't remember it because they're 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, but I don't know, you might be surprised.
They were once in no shoes looking up at the varsity Pirates and licking their chops, couldn't wait to get there, and just so proud to be a Pirate. So I'm definitely very excited.
Also, the 27th we have. Let's see. I have you down as East Central. That's a home game, obviously. Again, JV tip-off 6 o'clock, and that is senior night. So you just want to give a shout-out to those 3 seniors again?
Well, it's actually, it's 4. We're losing our manager as well, Caden Fissy.
Yep, I forgot about Fissy, been the manager.
Yep, he's in year 4 of commanding all the things needed for a basketball game and a practice. So we're losing him as well. Going to honor those 4 seniors. It'll be bittersweet for me. I love senior night, but I hate it as well because that means I'm losing a great group, and I'll be 2 for 2 as far as really gonna miss the group that I'm leaving. Hopefully, I can bat 1,000 when it comes to that over the years of my coaching, and I'm sure I will. But the 3 players and the 1 manager that are leaving this year, I'm gonna miss them all dearly.
Yeah, it is bittersweet, and losing the seniors, especially, you got a good group of seniors there, but it helps knowing that those seniors have been leaders and have pushed those juniors, the sophomore, freshmen, to prepare for next year.
Absolutely, and it's so cool to always, like last year, I'm saying like I've done this for forever, but I'm in year 2. Last year when we graduated, our 4 seniors, caught myself just kind of sitting thinking about their journeys individually with basketball, because those 4, I was coaching JV still when they were in our program, so I got to see them all 4 of them in 2 different lenses. And now with this group, I'll look back at over at least the last 2 years that I've had these kids playing basketball, and it's awesome to think about all the trials and tribulations they've gone through individually, the growth with basketball, the adversity that they've all faced individually and together, and it's just really cool to think about that and to see where they've ended up and how successful they are, not just as basketball players but as young men, and to think about what they're going to end up being. I know and I hope they're all going to be a heck of a lot more successful than I am. They're outstanding kids. So it's like I said, it's bittersweet. I'll definitely hate seeing them go.
Now, with your senior night, are you guys doing it before the varsity game? You doing it halftime?
It'll be before the varsity game.
Okay, so just so everybody knows, between the JV varsity game, so be there if you can. Show those guys some love and support for the dedication, sacrifices they make, and I think that's something that we often forget is, we pay our whatever the ticket price is. I feel like it keeps going up to be able to compete, to have the funds to have programs to compete, but that's another story. But I think the one thing that everybody underestimates, and that's why one of the reasons that I agreed to come do overtime or start overtime here, is to bring that acknowledgement to the student athletes and coaches and programs, because I think the sacrifices they make goes unnoticed a lot of times. But they're giving up time with friends, they're giving up time on weekends, they're practicing or games and then homework at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, up early for shoot-arounds. And I just think sometimes those fans in the crowd forget about that.
Yeah, it's a lot of time. Basketball is the longest season by a considerable margin. Our limited contact period starts right after Labor Day, so we're going twice a week right after Labor Day. And then it starts to ramp up once you get middle of October, and that transitions to still only twice a week with the basketball, but we're throwing in some conditioning, we're throwing in some other days without a ball, to where now it's maybe 3 or 4 times a week. Then that first or second week in November hits, and it's every day. We go 2-a-days. Our first week we go before school and after school. So, and then, heck, you're off and running. Then you blink your eyes and you're at Christmas break. Blink your eyes again and you're sitting right where I am now, and we got 2 home games left, talking about senior night.
Yeah, waiting on the sectional draw.
But then you look over the course of it, and it's been 5 months, and you're like, holy smokes. And as soon as we get done, whenever our season ends, hopefully it ends about late March.
Yeah.
And then our limited contact period starts again mid-April, and it's time to get in the gym again and get going and start working on some individual things. Then you hit your summer. The month of June's huge. High school basketball. It's, we practice about 3 days a week. We're going to play some games on the weekends, some tournaments.
Camps.
Yep, and it's never ending. So the amount of sacrifice and the amount of time that these kids spend, and I got so many multi-sport athletes that are going. Ethan Smith, I got to communicate with Coach DeVold. I got to communicate with previously Alex Meyer, but now Logan Smith, Ethan's brother, because Ethan, and I got to communicate with Coach Sliger, because we all want Ethan Smith at our workouts, and it's like, well, when are you going? Well, I'm going to go at this time, and he's going to go at this time. Well, can I have him for a little bit? And thank goodness all of our coaches are tremendous. We all understand, but just it taps in a little bit to what you said, the amount of time that these kids are spending trying to get better at their craft, and they all have fun with it, which is great.
Yeah, and it pays off. These kids put the work in, and it pays off on and off the court. If they're the leaders off the court, they'll be leaders on the court. And so, again, senior night is 27th against East Central, and that'll be between the JV and varsity games. Coach, as we start to wind down this morning, anything I missed this morning? I think before I give you your final take here,
No, you haven't. I mentioned this on the radio after our South Decatur game, but I want to mention it again. I come on here and just like I do post game, win or loss, and talk about the kids, which that's what it's about. It's all about the kids, the players that make this whole ship sail. But I got a pretty great coaching staff too that I need to harp on, and I want to harp on. I brought Jeter Edwards in this year to coach our freshmen and to assist Cam Carroll with the JV, and he's been amazing. His ability to relate to the kids at such a young age. He's pretty between, if we have an old senior and Jeter, there's like 3 years difference there, age-wise. Cam Carroll's done a great job, having another great season for the JV team. And then my two assistants at the varsity level, Bryce Mize and Brad Fox, have been more than tremendous. It's not a one-man show coaching staff, not even close. I'm the one standing up during games, and I'm the one talking on the radio, but those guys have just as much of a hand in things as I do. The fact that I'm comfortable enough to bounce ideas off of them, and when we have timeouts, I go straight to them and ask them what they're thinking and what they're seeing. It's amazing, and it's such a help to me. It's such a help to our guys. Brought Bryce Mize on this year, and he's another person in our high school building, which I'm a huge advocate for when it comes to coaches being in the building, so I can talk with him. He's like, hey, I talked to so-and-so today. He teaches math, and I was able to talk with so-and-so today. They're feeling pretty good, and they're just things like that. It's things that the outsider looking in doesn't realize, and you realize it because you work in schools, how powerful it is to have your coaches in your building.
They almost take on a mentorship.
Absolutely.
At that point, because they can be the inside and talk to the kids. If a kid's struggling in a class, or the kid needs something, or acting a knucklehead,
Yeah. Yeah, and Brad Fox is the same way. We're 2 for 2 now of Brad works at St. Mary's School, but having guys come work for him in the summer, some of our players come work for him, working the maintenance grounds at St. Mary's Parish. But just both of them have been more than tremendous, both for me, for our guys, and, more than anything, I love spending time with them. If I had to come into practice every day and I didn't want to see my guys or I didn't want to see my coaches, man, that'd make for the last 6 months to go even longer than it has. Yeah. And that couldn't be further from the truth. So I'm very thankful for everybody in my program, really. All the players, all the coaches. It's great.
Yeah, and again, that's why we keep doing overtime. Again, you just nailed it. You have those coaches, they're sacrificing, free time, family time, work time, to help out and mentor these kids, and they deserve a shout out as well. So you mentioned that Brad Fox has 3 kids, Bryce Mize has 2 kids, both of them elementary age, so you know how that is. And Cam, he has a real little 1-year-old, 2-year-old. So the fact that they're able to come to practice every day, and then their wives, I really need to thank their wives is who I need to thank. That's probably
Candace, Suzanne, and Bethany, thank you more than anything for allowing the fathers of your home to come and spend as much time as they do with me and our guys in the basketball gym. And while we're at it, I'm going to thank my wife, because I know I spend not near enough time at home when it's the middle of basketball season. She declared, again, maybe against her will, I think we had a good time, but she joined me last night to go scout East Central. It's Friday night. I'm sure there's a lot of other things that we could have done. Honey, do you want to go to Greenfield Central and watch East Central play? And she said, absolutely. So I'm just as thankful for her, more thankful for her than anything. The fact that she lets me do this and she loves it. So it's been great.
Yeah, and I mean you just nailed it. It's high school sports is a game of support. People that have to understand there's a bigger cause to it, and it's not just you play a game on a Saturday or you play a game on a Tuesday night, or it's a much bigger picture, and it takes a lot of people to help run that village. But Coach, we're going to wind down here. We're at 8:45, and I'm not sure if Beyond the Game's on today or not, but I know they're slotted for 9 o'clock. So, Coach, I'll give you your final take and let you do your thank yous. I know usually you got a lot of sponsors you like to thank, and whatever else you want to talk about. The floor is yours, Coach.
Well, I pretty much just went on my whole spiel with thank yous to all the people that help make our season go, that are behind the scenes. But I will like to shout out our sponsors once again. Sponsoring the Greensburg boys basketball program this year. Thank you so much to Schlemmer Home Goods, McCamick Construction, Greensburg Eye Care, O'Mara Foods, Levenstein's Abbey Carpet, Fleetwood Chevrolet, Taft Furniture, Bren's Insurance Group, Hamilton and Tebby Law, Acra Automotive, Tree City Brewing Company, Tarua, Artistry Wealth, Decatur County RAMC, and Lowe's Pellets and Grain. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting us all year this year, and hopefully with your guys' help we can keep the season going a little bit longer than maybe it's supposed to.
Yeah, Coach, I keep saying it today, but I think you guys we've talked, different aspects of your game that's grown a lot, from defense to role players stepping in to fill in to, winners of the last 5 of 7 clicking right. So, Coach, sectional draw is Sunday. I wish you guys the best. I hope you make a run so we can keep having you on this season. Like you said, I feel like basketball, I've talked to you guys twice a month. It almost seems like a little longer than football, but wish you the best of luck and success in the playoffs. And again, you have South Ripley tonight at home, 6 o'clock JV tip-off, and that is the Youth Dirt Road night tonight. And then the last regular season game will be the 27th, 6 o'clock JV tip-off. That'll be against East Central. That is senior night, and yours takes place between the JV and varsity game. So that's going to be a wrap for us. Coach Colin Rigney, Greensburg Boys Varsity Basketball, thanks for being on here.
Thank you.
Thanks for sacrificing some more time. I know you guys have plenty of things to do, and I'm probably not at the top of that list. All right, we're going to wrap it up. I'll be back same time, same place, next Saturday, 8 a.m. I'm Nick Messer, and this has been Overtime.